Let's continue with our discussion on annuities. I'm sorry I got disconnected. So we were looking at the difference in annuity ordinary. Okay, this is 30,000 for 30 years, same rate at 10%. This is annuity ordinary. On the other hand, this is annuity due because the cash flow begins immediately. So to compare the present values of this, the long cut will be, let's use the formula. So this is equal to the the future value. So this is tech. Yes.
Sorry po, I think you're not.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, my screen is not sharing. Okay, thank you. All right, there. Okay. So it's the this is the from our viewpoint, 30,000 after 1 year is the future value. And we would like to know how much is this now. Okay. So it's 30,000 multiplied by 1 plus the rate. What's the rate? This is the rate. Now, I'll be copying this. I'll be copying this formula to the right side. Okay, because for year 2, we will still have to compute for the present value after 2 years. Now, the 10% is fixed. So what we can do is, so that it will not change, it will remain here, I can press S11 and then F4. Now notice that it's $S, $11. I pressed F4 for that. This means that it will be locked in column S and also locked in row 11. So if we do that, okay, if I copy it to the right here, this position will not change. $S, $11 will remain fixed. So it's what we call absolute, both in the column and in the row. Okay. Now, how about this class? Another F4. Is this possible? Is S11 is $11 also correct? What do you think, class? Is $11 correct also? So what's fixed there? Okay. 11, yeah, 11 is fixed, right? Row 11 is fixed. Okay, so I'm going to copy it to the right. Okay, what will happen, class? What will happen? Since only row 11 is fixed, then what will happen is that your column will change. So if I copy it to the right, then S, because it's not changed, it's not fixed, then it will go to T. All right. So that will give us the wrong answer. The column will move. Correct. Thank you, Aliana. The column will move, class. So what should we do? Okay. We don't need to fix the row. Why, class? Because I'm going to copy it along this row. And the row position is not changing. So there's no need actually to fix the row, because anyway, I'm going to copy the formula along row 16, and row 16 is not going to change. So this one, on the other hand, $S11, we're fixing the column. So if I copy this to the right, it will remain in column S. Okay? It will remain in column S. It will still be at 10%. So what's the lesson here? We can either use $S, $11 or $S11. Okay? We can use any of them. But for modeling purposes, it's best to put an absolute only where it is needed. So between this one and this one, what is preferred is $S11. Okay? If you don't need to put a dollar sign, if you don't need to make it absolute, then don't make it absolute. Okay? So that's the proper formula. Although it $S $11 will also give you the same answer. Okay, and then shift 6, got it? And then our time is this one. So 1. This one we don't need to fix because when we move to the right, we want to make it move to the right also. Okay, so enter. Then I'll let's copy. You can copy the format here. Home. Okay, here format painter. Copy it here. Okay, it's copying the format. Okay. All right. So okay, immediately there's something wrong here, class. What's wrong here? Any comment, class? What's wrong there? Yes, correct. Thank you, Nix. Correct. Now, if you get the present value, class, you should be getting a smaller number than your future value. So here I'm getting 33,000. That cannot be. If my future value is 30,000, my present value should be smaller. Okay, so which means that check, there's something wrong. F2. So I forgot here the negative sign there. It should be negative T. It's a discount factor. 1 plus R raised to the negative T. Control Enter. There you go. And we can just copy this to the right. Okay, there. And you see, class, that as the future value moves away, this is after 10 years, its present value will just be 11,566. Okay, what is the present value of 30,000 30 years from now? At 10%, how much is its present value? It's just 1719. Okay. All right. Question. Can I now add this cash flows? Yes or no, please? Can I now add this cash flows? Yes or no? Can I now, class, add this 27,000, 24,000? What's your answer, class? Is it yes or no? Okay, you may just unmute yourself. Is it now correct to add this 27,000 to 24,000, 22,000? Answer is okay. Yes. Thank you, Aliana. Yeah, the answer is yes, class. Why? Because these are all present values already. This is present value, present value, present value. What does this mean? The equivalent of 30,000 2 years from now at 10% is 24,793. So these are all present values. So we can now add them. So let's sum them up. Sum of Control Enter, and we get this. Okay. So in order to answer the question, what is the equivalent present value of an annuity of 30,000 at 30 years with an interest rate of 10%? So the equivalent of that annuity of 30,000, 30 years at 10% is 282,807. Again, so the question, which is better? Okay, 282,807 now or 30,000 after 1 year for 30 years, ordinary annuity, if the rate of return is 10%? The answer is we are indifferent. We are indifferent to choosing between 282807 or 30,000 for the next 30 years at 10% because they're equivalent cash flows. Okay, they are equivalent cash flows. All right, then how about now we can of course get the we can get the same PV. I'll put negative there. The rate is 10%, okay, comma, okay, N per is 1. We can get it individually, class. So let me just illustrate this. The future value is 30,000, okay. Now N per class, N per is, we're not going to fix this. The rate we're going to fix again, class. So S11 should be F4 there. It should be dollar S11, okay? And then S15 is nothing fixed there, okay? All right, ignore that. For now, ignore the type, class, because we are actually computing for the present value of these individual cash flows, okay? We're not using the PMT value. We're using the FV value, right? Close, Control Enter, and then let's see. Let's copy the format. Okay, it's the same, class. It's the same. So we use the PV function, okay? But we can also make use of the PMT of 30,000. Okay, so how do we do that? What I can do here is negative PV, okay? Rate is 10%, comma, N per is 30, comma, and we use the PMT, okay? PMT is 30,000, right? So we're not using the individual 30,000, but rather PMT of 30,000 for 30 years, comma, no future value. We're treating this as one annuity, and then comma, this is where type comes in. Okay, since you're using the PMT, so the option is it the end of the period, which is annuity due, or the beginning of the period? End of the period, which is annuity ordinary, or one beginning of the period. So we're using end of the period. This is annuity ordinary. So put 0 there. Okay. So it will now give us the present value of this annuity of 30,000 for 30 years at 10% annuity ordinary. Okay, I'll give you a few seconds to key in that answer there. What are you getting, class? Are you getting 282807? Yeah, good. Thank you. Sam, thank you. How about the others? And Nix, thank you. Okay, good. 282, Jazan, should be 282807. Okay. Okay, thank you, Jazan. All right. Control Enter. Okay, so 282807, same thing. Okay, same thing. All right. Let's use, class, let's use the Excel formula for PV here for this annuity due so that we can compare whether, let me remove the cents. Okay. So we will not repeat this process, class. It's actually tedious to do that. You can easily compute for the present value using the annuity itself. Okay, so let's do that. The present value using the Excel function is equal to negative PV. Okay, the rate is the same, 10%, comma. NPER is also 30 years, comma. PMT is also 30,000, comma. Ignore the FV, comma. Here is a difference. What will be the type? Is it the end of the period, which is annuity ordinary, or beginning of the period, which is annuity due? It's annuity due, so we put one there. Okay, and you'll get a present value that's higher than 282,807. So control enter. All right, let me copy this format. Oops, sorry. Okay, so the present value of an annuity of 30,000, annuity due 30,000, okay, for 30 years is 311,088. And we were able to show that indeed it's higher than the present value of an annuity ordinary. Now, back to my question a while ago, which will have a higher future value? Of course, class. This annuity ordinary will have a higher future value. Okay, how do I know that, class? Let's compute the future value and put it here, class. It's equal to negative FB, right? The rate is 10%, 10%, comma, okay? N per is 30, comma. PMT, we're not using PMT, but rather we're using the present value here, okay? Present value, and then ignore the type right here. Take a look at this one, class. Oops, sorry. Rate, N per, I missed the N per. Where's our N per? 30 here. There. Rate, N per. Okay, ignore the annuity, PMT. Use the present value and then ignore the type. Okay, control enter. Oops, something's wrong. Where did I make a mistake? This is rate, S12. Sorry, it should be S11. S11 and S12. S11 and S12. All right. Okay, so this is the future value for annuity due. On the other hand, the future value for annuity ordinary is negative FB. Again, the rate is S11, comma, N per is S12, comma. We don't use the PMT. We use the present value, which is 282,807. And ignore the type. Okay, there. I'll give you a few seconds to work on that. Let me put the formula here. It's equal to formula text, oops, sorry. Formula text. And kindly chat, please, if you were able to get it. Okay, good, good. Okay, good. All right. So we were able, in this exercise, we were able to show that the present value of an annuity ordinary is, of course, higher, annuity due is higher than that of an annuity ordinary. And of course, since its present value is higher, then its future value will also be higher. In Excel, you can make use you can spell out the cash flow, okay, and make use of the individual present values of the cash flow. But as we notice, it's quite unwieldy, it's cumbersome, it's longer to compute than just using either the PV or FV function using the PMT, which is the annuity. And you can define whether that annuity is annuity ordinary or annuity due. Okay. All right. So this one is exactly the same. Okay. So I'll give you 1 minute, please, to solve for present value of annuity. Same thing. You should have the same answer. If it's annuity. By the way, if if you're not told if it's annuity ordinary or annuity due, the default is always it's annuity ordinary. Okay, annuity ordinary takes precedence over annuity due. All right, I'll give you a few, maybe 1 minute for this both. Compute for the present value and the future value if it's annuity due or annuity ordinary, and you should be getting the same answers here. Present value for annuity ordinary is 282. For annuity due, it's 311. And the future value should be 4934 for ordinary and 5428 for annuity due. Okay, kindly please verify. I'll give you 1 minute for that. And when you're done, kindly chat, please, that you're done, that you got it. Okay, good, good. Okay, I hope everybody got it. Okay, thank you. All right. So very quickly, class, just to illustrate, present value is, I'll put the negative sign here because we're not interested in the direction of the cash flow. Our rate is 10%, comma, N per is 30, comma. We're going to use this annuity of 30, okay? And no future value. And the type is ordinary, so that's 0. End of the period. Control Enter. Okay, got it. Okay. Uh, we can just copy this and just make Control C. The only difference is that this is a 1. Okay, 1. Enter. There you go. So future value, okay, is equal to negative FV. A while ago, we computed the future value based on the present value. Here, we're going to use the PMT. Rate is at 10%, comma, N per is 30, PMT is 30,000. Ignore the present value. Type is end of the period. 0. Okay, Control Enter. There. Same thing, I'll just copy this again. Control C, escape is equal to Control V, and then 1. Annuity due. Control Enter. Copy the format. Okay, 5428 4934. Okay. All right. This one is a long formula. Let's not do that. We're not interested in that. Okay, we have some more minutes. Why don't we do this class? Let's finish this 3 questions, and then we will call it a day. It's almost 11 o'clock, but let's just finish up to this one. So for next meeting, we'll continue working on this, and then amortization, dynamic amortization, NPV, IRR, MIRR basics, and equal lives, etc. So for the next two more sessions, we will hopefully we're able to crossover. We'll be able to finish all of these activities here. Okay. All right. So let's end the day by completing this, finishing this. Okay, this one class. So you're given, you're asked to solve here. You're solving for annuity. Okay, the annuity class. You're given the present value or the future value, the number of payments, and 10%. How much will be the annuity? Okay, so we're going to use PMT class. It's equal to PMT. And we should be getting 30,000. Okay, I'll give you 1 minute to solve this class. It's equal to PMT. So you should identify the rate, the NPER, PV, FV, or the type. Okay, all right. Go ahead, please. 1 minute to solve this and tell me if you got 30,000 or not, class. Yes or no, okay? It's okay if you don't get it. But you have to tell me yes if you got 30,000 or no, you didn't get 30,000. And then we'll discuss. Okay? All right. Can you please send to me your formula? Just to me directly, not to everyone. Send to me your formula. I want to see your, let's copy the formula. Do not put copy the equal sign, just the formula. I'd just like to see what your formula was. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Very good. Now, why didn't you use both the present value and the future value? Okay, so some commit mistakes here because what they do is they use both the present value and the future value. Remember, these are equivalent cash flows. So the present value is 282. The future value is 4934. Okay. This 282 is equivalent to 4934. So if you're computing for the PMT, okay, this annuity, you can either make use of the equivalent to 282 or equivalent PMT based on the future value. So it's wrong to use both. Okay, it's wrong to use both. So that's a common mistake here. Okay, you only use one. Either use the present value Okay, and what's the equivalent annuity? Or you use the future value, and what's the equivalent to of its in annuity? Okay, since I think most of you use the present value, I'll use the future value. So this is equal to, you're correct, PMT. Okay, rate is 10%, comma, NPER is 30, comma, I could use the future value, which is this one. All right, some of you, most of you, all of you use the present value, but you can also use the future value, comma, type is end of the period 0. Okay, or you can, it's okay not to put anything there, because if you don't put anything there, our Excel will read that as 0, which is ordinary annuity. Okay, control enter. Okay, that's 30,000. All right, then how about this class? Solve for N and solve for the rate. Okay, I'll give you 1 minute each. So for this one, N, you're solving for the N per, so you have to use N per. Okay, and for this one, we're computing for the rate, so you have to use is equal to rate. And then we'll end in this. Okay, so tell me if you were able to get here 30, because it's 30 years, and here, if you got 10%. Okay, I want you to be honest and tell me if you were able to get 30 for N per and 10% for rate. Yes or no? All right. So it's taking quite long. No? May I have quickly, class, an answer? Did you get 10 years? Did you get 10%? Kasi si Nix got 7 years and an error dun sa annual rate. Okay, most probably you did not get the figures. Okay, thank you. So let me just discuss that very quickly and then we'll call it a day. So in this case, class, take note what's given here is the present value or the future value or the annual payment. So where did you go wrong, class, in N per? So it's equal to N per. Now, first of all, you do not put a negative in N per. you put only a negative in either FV, PV, or PMT because those are cash flows. NPER, you do not put a negative there outside here because this is not, NPER is not something that can be negative. Okay. All right. So what's the rate? 10%, comma. Now you have two options here. Okay, class. But you will have to use only two cash flows because you're comparing two equivalent cash flows. So you do not put PMT, PV, and FV. These are all equivalent cash flows. Okay, so if let's choose first PMT, 30,000 here, comma, let me use present value. What's my present value? This one. However, class, take note, our Excel is very particular about the direction of the cash flow. So if your annual payment is positive, then your present value should be negative. It cannot be both positive, class, because you cannot have an investment where we get positive present value and positive annuity. All right? So future value ignore because you're just comparing two cash flows, and then end of the period, or just ignore this. Control enter. All right, so I got 30. Okay. You can now also use either future value and present value, but one of them has to be negative, or annuity and future value. Any of this, it will give you the same 30. And lastly, this is equal to rate. Same thing, class. Same thing. NPER is 30, comma. I'll use PMT again, 30,000, comma. I'll use future value. This should be negative, class. One of the cash flow has to be negative. It cannot be both positive. So that's the reason why you were getting a number sign, okay? Because you used both positive. So Excel was saying you cannot have both positive for the inflow and the outflow, okay? So that's the type ignore, okay? Control enter. So that's 10%, okay? All right, so let's stop there, class. Could you please have thumbs up, please? If you got it, class. Formula text. Okay, good. How about the others, please? All right. Okay. So what was critical there, class, was the use of two cash flows. Okay. And one should be an inflow and the other should be an outflow. It doesn't matter which is the inflow or which is the outflow. Okay. All right. So for today, let's stop there. I think we were able to. Did you learn something today, class? How is our pace? Is our pace okay? Okay. Did you learn something today? I hope these things are new to you. FVPV, PMT, rate, and per. We're going to continue learning more about the functionalities of Excel as it relates to financial modeling. Comments, please.